This is an audio story about a teenage boy traveling back in time to the 90s with current day technology in his possession. 15-year-old Jaden Miller was a tech obsessed kid who thought he knew everything. He lived on energy drinks, memes, and the internet in general. One boring Saturday afternoon, while messing with an old circuit board that he found in his grandpa's attic, Jaden triggered something strange. There was a flash, a humming sound, and then he blacked out for a moment. Jaden woke up in the middle of what looked like his town square, but the giant LED billboard was gone, replaced with a bulky movie theater marquee. Instead of Teslas, boxy station wagons and dusty pickup trucks lined the street. A kid rolled by on a skateboard wearing neon windbreakers like he stepped out of a music video. Jaden blinked. "Where the heck am I?" he muttered, pulling out his phone to check on the Maps app. He still had 76% battery. No signal. But at least TikTok worked offline. Kind of. He opened the app and scrolled through downloaded memes. One had a guy lip-syncing Riz God while riding a Roomba dressed as Spider-Man. Jaden snorted. Classic. Then someone tapped his shoulder. It was a teenage girl with huge scrunchies in her hair, wearing overalls over a Nickelodeon t-shirt. She was staring at his phone like it was an alien artifact. "Is that a new Game Boy?" she asked. Jaden blinked. What? No, duh, this is an iPhone 14 Pro Max. With 1 terabyte storage. She blinked harder. I don't know what most of those words mean. He shrugged and flipped his camera to selfie mode. "Wanna make a TikTok?" "A what?" she asked. Instead of explaining, Jaden hit record and did a trending meme dance while repeating "tralalero tralala." The girl looked horrified. "Are you okay? Is this a seizure?" More kids started gathering. Word spread fast when someone was acting weird. One boy in a backwards cap asked, "Dude, are you from the future or something?" Jaden froze. Before he could answer, a guy with a walkie-talkie clipped to his jeans walked up. "All right, what's going on here?" He had a mustache, mirrored sunglasses, and a pager on his belt. He looked like every mall cop meme come to life. Jaden panicked and did the only thing he could think of. He showed the guy a video of a dog using AI to talk through a voice generator. The man screamed, "Witchcraft!" And, just like that, Jaden was running. He ducked into an arcade, heart pounding, surrounded by the beeps and bloops of Street Fighter and Pac-Man. He found a seat in the corner and pulled out his phone, trying to figure out how to reverse whatever he'd done. As he swiped through his settings, someone sat down next to him. It was the girl from earlier, still looking half curious, half convinced he was a government experiment. "So," she said, popping a bubblegum bubble, "you really are from the future?" Jaden sighed. "Yeah. And if I can't get back, I'm gonna miss the new season of Stranger Things. You guys don't even have Netflix yet." "What's a Netflix?" He groaned. Jaden didn't expect to make friends so fast, especially a couple of decades before he was even born. But once people got over the initial alien spy vibes, he became a bit of a legend in town. He showed a group of kids how to play Fruit Ninja on his phone. Their minds were blown. He used the Notes app to help one of them cheat on a pop quiz without even pulling out a pen. And when he showed his new friends a video of someone doing parkour across rooftops with subtitles that said "me avoiding responsibilities," they laughed for a full 5 minutes, even if they didn't totally get the meme. Humor, it turns out, was a bit more timeless than he expected. Soon he had a crew: Jenny, the Nickelodeon girl, Marcus, obsessed with sci-fi and immediately convinced Jaden was a time traveler, and Kevin, who just wanted to see if Jaden could teach his Tamagotchi to rap. Things were actually kind of awesome. Until Jaden posted a TikTok. Just one. He figured, why not? He was off the grid. No Wi-Fi. No GPS. Who would notice? Turns out, someone did. 2 days later, a mysterious black van rolled into town. Guys in suits and sunglasses stepped out. Think Men in Black meets FBI Thrift Store Edition. They didn't talk much, just started showing grainy screenshots of Jaden's face around town, asking weird questions like, "Have you seen this device?" or "Do you believe in interdimensional travel?" Jenny saw them first. She sprinted to the arcade where Jaden was playing Mortal Kombat, totally unaware. "They're looking for you," she gasped, out of breath. "Like, suit-wearing looking for you." Jaden's stomach dropped. "What? No. I didn't even use a hashtag." Marcus was pacing in panic. "They know, man. I told you. You can't just go around messing with the space-time continuum without consequences. That's basic Back to the Future protocol." Jaden started packing up his phone and the half-fried time circuit he was still trying to decode. But it was too late. They found him behind the movie theater later that night. "Jaden Miller," one of the agents said. "You're coming with us." He tried to run. Jenny grabbed his arm. "What are you going to do?" I don't know," he whispered. The agents moved in, surrounding him. One of them pulled out a strange device. It looked almost futuristic, which made Jaden pause. Was this their technology? Or his? Then one of them smiled, just slightly. "Let's have a little talk about where you're from, and what else you brought with you." Jaden's heart raced. This wasn't just some random government task force. They knew. And they weren't planning to let him go back so easily. Jaden sat in a cold metal chair under flickering fluorescent lights. Across from him was a man in a dark suit with sharp cheekbones and a clipboard that seemed unnecessary for a conversation like this. "You said your name is Jaden Miller," the man said. "Born in 2010. That would make you not born." "Not yet." Jaden swallowed hard. "Yeah, I know how time works." They didn't laugh. "Of course not." Another agent leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "You've shown technology we haven't seen before. Algorithms, communication tools, videos of animals speaking English in real time. Either you're from the future, or you're a foreign operative. Or an alien," the first one finished. Jaden's eyes widened. "Seriously? You think I'm E.T. with a TikTok account?" But it got worse. They brought up files. Somehow they'd tracked his mother. A young woman in her early 20s, working part-time at a record store. Totally unaware that, in 15 years, she'd give birth to the kid currently being grilled by government agents. "She's clean," the agent said. "For now." But this entire situation presents a paradox. You being here could collapse causality. "Cool," Jaden muttered. "So I'm either a threat to national security or the universe." They didn't deny it. The agents offered him two options: stay here, integrate. They'd erase records, give him a new identity, and monitor him closely. No phone, no memes, just life in the 90s forever. Or help them reverse engineer the tech that brought him here. "But if I do that," Jaden said slowly, "you'll just use it yourselves. Won't you?" They didn't answer. Back in his holding room that night, Jaden stared at his dying phone. 3% battery. The last thing he watched was a TikTok of someone deepfaking Drake onto a banana doing taxes. / / The room had no windows. Just the buzz of overhead lights and the constant hum of the air vent above him. Jaden sat still, his hands cuffed to the table, staring at the dark glass across from him. He knew there were people watching. He just didn't know how many. They'd stopped asking him questions hours ago. Now, they were showing him images, frames pulled from his phone, magnified screenshots of TikToks, and close-ups of his tech. One of the agents, a woman with clipped, precise speech, laid it out for him clearly. "You've demonstrated knowledge of materials, algorithms, and cultural trends we have no record of. The phone you carry is made with alloys not yet in use. The software is at least 15 years beyond what we have in beta. So we ask again, what are you?" "I told you," Jaden said, voice raw. "I'm just a kid. I was messing with a circuit board I didn't understand, and something happened. I didn't plan this." The woman looked at him, expression unreadable. "Unplanned or not, you are now a variable. One that doesn't belong in this timeline." Jaden stayed quiet. Then she dropped the real threat. "We've found your mother," she said. Elizabeth Miller, 22. Works in retail. Lives alone. Quiet life. But your existence here, it changes everything. You can't be born if you're already here. Jaden's stomach twisted. What do you want from me? Help us understand how you got here. Show us how the tech works. We're not trying to hurt you, but we are trying to make sure you don't break time in half. He leaned back. And if I don't cooperate? She didn't answer. But she didn't need to. That night, alone in the observation room, he looked at the pieces they'd taken from him, the damaged time circuit, partially disassembled on the metal tray. His phone, dead now, was locked in a separate container, stripped of all signal but still containing traces of his time. The memes, the news clips, the faces of people not yet born. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was evidence of what could be. They were scared of him. Maybe they were right to be. The next morning, they brought him breakfast and a folder. Inside were documents, an entirely new identity, a birth certificate, a school record. Fake, but clean. The offer stood. Stay here. Vanish into the 1990s. Forget the future. You could live, the woman said, just not the life you expected. But Jaden wasn't sure he could do that. Not knowing who he was. Not knowing if somewhere out there, his future was unraveling. That night, he made a decision. If they were going to keep him here, he'd find a way back. On his own terms. He just needed time. And ironically, that was the one thing he might not have enough of. Weeks passed. The interrogations ended. Surveillance continued, quietly but omnipresent. Jaden was released into a controlled life under a fabricated name, enrolled in school, given a handler disguised as a social worker. He was warned, again and again. Don't draw attention. Don't disrupt history. Don't try to find your mother. He didn't listen. It took him a month to track her down. She was younger than he remembered from photos, barely older than he was now. She worked late shifts, listened to cassette tapes in her car, and lived in a modest apartment above a laundromat. He approached her one evening as she was closing up the store. She looked at him like he was just another kid. Can I help you? He wanted to say something simple, something safe. But it came out raw. You're going to be my mom. She stared at him. What? I'm your son. From the future. I know how that sounds. I know it's insane. She laughed nervously. Okay. Well, this has been creepy. He begged her to wait. He recited things no stranger could know. The name of the boy she loved in high school. The scar on her knee. The lullaby she used to hum when she thought no one was listening. He only knew it because she hummed it while folding laundry in the background of a home video he'd watched 100 times. She didn't believe him. Not at first. But he kept showing up. Kind. Quiet. Familiar. And slowly, a flicker of something shifted in her eyes. Not belief. Not quite. But recognition. Like part of her wanted to believe. Still, the truth was too much. He stopped pushing. Let her come to it in her own time. In the meantime, life went on. Jaden adapted. His knowledge of the future gave him quiet leverage. He knew what stocks would rise, what companies would form, what events were coming. He couldn't act on most of it directly. The agency still had eyes, but he found subtle ways to help people. A teacher struggling with debt? He gave quiet advice on an unknown company called Amazon. A friend obsessed with tech? Jaden helped him invent a simplified MP3 player design and let him take credit. He never bragged, never drew attention. He learned to live in shadows of things yet to come. As for his phone, it sat like a relic of another life. At first, he could only charge it with a makeshift rig, a Frankenstein setup using scavenged parts and an old car battery in a friend's garage. Later, he built a stabilizer from parts ordered discreetly from various catalogs, soldered together with the help of his future knowledge. It was dangerous and unreliable, but it worked. The phone was nearly useless without a network, but the photos, the videos, the memories were everything. watching clips of his little sister laughing on the beach, his dad grilling in the backyard, his mom, older, tired, but warm, was both a comfort and a wound. He started dreaming of them, and waking up unsure which world he belonged to. Then, one night, there was a knock at his door. It was her. His mother, Elizabeth. Pale, quiet, eyes wide. "I need you to tell me everything again," she said. "From the beginning." He nodded, and for the first time in weeks, he let himself hope that maybe he wouldn't have to carry the weight of truth alone. Jaden learned early that knowing the future was less like holding a map and more like holding a loaded gun. Every move could ripple. Every tip could change something he wasn't supposed to touch. But he couldn't unknow what he knew. So he used it carefully. He started with small things. There was a kid at school, smart, quiet, bullied, who sketched ideas in the margins of his notebook, strange little rectangles with buttons and glowing screens. "I call it a pocket web," he said one day. "I think someday we'll carry the internet in our hands." Jaden smiled. "Don't stop drawing those. You're closer than you think." And when that kid asked about a name for a future tech company, Jaden casually said, "Don't use Micronet. It won't age well." But something short, sharp, like Pulse, that has potential. It cost him nothing to steer a dream. It changed nothing immediate. But it felt like doing good. He also got a job, under the table, fixing electronics. VCRs, cassette decks, early computers. To everyone else, he was a prodigy. To him, it was elementary school material. He started keeping notebooks, not filled with predictions, but with timelines, patterns. He remembered what year the housing market would crash, when the dot-com bubble would burst, which companies would rise from dorm rooms and garages. But he didn't try to profit from it. He couldn't, not directly. He knew how fast attention would come if he did. Instead, he whispered to people on the edge. The single mother considering a sketchy investment. The high school guidance counselor thinking about going into debt to buy a pager store. "Maybe hold off," he'd say. "Something better's coming." His advice was often strange, vague, but always right. People started calling him the old soul behind his back. That kid sees the world different. What he wanted most, though, was to build again. Not for money. For home. He spent nights trying to reconstruct the accident, the circuitry that had launched him here. But it was like building a space shuttle from a box of Legos. The materials didn't exist yet. The software didn't exist yet. Still, he tried. And as he worked, he began to see the world differently. The slowness of the 90s, the unconnectedness, was a kind of peace. People talked to each other. Stores closed on Sundays. Teenagers looked you in the eye. He began to understand something uncomfortable. The future he came from, it had lost things. Yes, it had progress, efficiency, power, but it had traded intimacy for speed, patience for convenience, wonder for content. He wasn't sure he wanted to go back, but he still missed his family like hell. So he lived in between, caught in a strange middle ground between time traveler, ghost, and guardian angel, using just enough of the future to help without ever tipping the balance too far. And every night he charged that dying phone just to hear his sister's laugh, to remind himself what was waiting, or maybe what had been waiting. Want to hear part 2? Like and subscribe to stay tuned.